Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, your weekly dose of chaos, laughter, and the weirdest things people actually admit online. Today we're diving deep into the funniest stories and jokes from Reddit and stuff so ridiculous you'll start questioning humanity and probably your own life choices. So grab a drink, get comfy, and let's laugh together, because trust me, this week's stories are insane. Story 1. The smartest dumb criminal alive. So there's this guy, right? Let's call him Genius with a gun. He robs a gas station. Mask, hoodie, everything. He gets the money, stuffs it into a plastic bag, and then, instead of running, decides to fill up his car because apparently gas prices these days are scarier than prison. So he pays, starts pumping and chilling like he's on a coffee break after a long day of crime. 20 minutes later, the cops arrive. He's still there, arguing with the cashier about loyalty points. When they cuff him, he says, totally serious, "Hey, I can't just drive off with an empty tank." Reddit went wild. One user wrote, "He didn't get arrested for theft, he got arrested for financial responsibility." Another said, "That's not a criminal, that's just a man doing adulting wrong." My favourite comment, imagine being his getaway driver, sitting there like, bro, are we seriously topping off during a heist? And yes, they found his full name, his ID, and his wallet on the dashboard. He left everything behind, so technically he didn't get caught, he just didn't leave. Story 2. The wedding toast that killed the vibe. Alright, picture this. Beautiful wedding, string lights, champagne, everyone smiling. And then the best man, our Reddit hero, stands up for his speech. He clears his throat, taps the glass, and says, "They say every marriage hides a secret, like my brother's ex." You could hear the collective, "Oh no!" ripple through the room. The bride freezes mid-smile. Grandma stops chewing. Even the DJ hits pause on Ed Sheeran. The best man keeps going, because why not double down? He says, "But that's how you learn what you don't want, right?" At this point, the maid of honor is planning his funeral. He tries to recover, adds, kidding, they're perfect together and like Wi-Fi and bad signal." Silence. Absolute stunt. Later that night, the newlyweds leave for their honeymoon. And somehow the best man's name isn't on the guest list anymore. He writes, "They uninvited me from my own brother's vacation. Worth it for the joke, though." Reddit voted him. Comedian of the Year, emotional support 0. And that's the day he learned, roasting your brother in private is funny. Roasting him in front of 200 people is how you get erased from family photos. Story 3. The cat lawyer that made history. You've probably seen this one floating around the internet, but it never gets old. So there's this lawyer, right? Serious guy, 50-something, probably the kind who still prints every email. He's in court, well, Zoom court, because it's 2020-something and everyone's working from home. He logs in, camera on, ready to defend his client, and boom! He's a cat. Like full-on fluffy white kitten face with giant blue eyes. The filter is stuck. He starts panicking. "Your Honor, I'm here live. I'm not a cat." And the judge, bless him, replies completely deadpan. "I can see that, counselor. Now most people would have just turned off the camera or left the meeting. Not this man." He continues the hearing while looking like Garfield giving legal advice. Reddit went feral. Top comment, "Objection, per jury." Someone else said, "This is the first time justice was truly feline balanced." The best part? The video went viral, and now the poor guy's known forever as Mr. Whiskers attorney at Paw. Honestly, I'd hire him! If a man can stay calm while being trapped in a cat filter during a court session, imagine how he handles actual stress. Story 4 here, the fridge that became self-aware. A Redditor posted this a few weeks ago and the entire thread melted down. They said, "My new smart fridge just sent me an email." Cool, right? Technology. Except the email says, "Your milk expired 3 days ago." That alone is creepy, but it gets worse. A few minutes later, another email. "Also, your Wi-Fi signal is weak. Fix it." At this point, the guy's like, "Okay, my fridge is roasting me now." He writes back to his fridge, "Thanks." The fridge replies, "Don't mention it. Also, stop buying cheap cheese." And that's when he unplugged it. The comments, pure gold. Bro's living with an appliance that has better communication skills than half of Reddit. Someone else said, "Next update, share." Your fridge joins Twitter to complain about your diet. Honestly, this is where we're heading. In a few years, your toaster will ghost you, your microwave will file our complaints, and your washing machine will start a podcast called Dirty Laundry. Story 5. The Neighbour from Hell and Her Oxygen Crisis. Every neighbourhood has one person who is clearly built in a factory that runs on pure chaos. For this Reddeditor, it's his new next-door neighbour, a woman who complains about everything. Dogs barking, birds singing, even clouds being too suspiciously fluffy. So one day she storms over and says, "Your trees are stealing my oxygen." The guy thinks she's joking. She's not. She insists that his maple trees are suffocating her yard. So being the king of petty, he makes a fake government-looking sign and plants it right in his lawn. Big red letters, tree oxygen tax enforced by city council. 2 hours later, the neighbour calls City Hall to report illegal air harvesting. The city literally sends someone over, not to fine them, but to tell her to stop calling. When Reddit heard this story, the comments exploded. Top one said, "Plot twist, she's probably right. I've been feeling lightheaded ever since he planted that oak." Another wrote, "That woman's not a neighbour. She's a side quest." Now every spring he adds another sign. Last year, cloud parking fee. This year, sunlight permit required, and she still hasn't figured it out. Some people just need less air and more hobbies. Story 6. Grandma versus Technology. This one melted Reddit's heart. A guy teaches his 78-year-old grandma how to use Google for the first time. He says, "You just type what you want to know." She nods seriously, puts on her glasses, and types, "Please tell me the weather tomorrow." Then, after the search results pop up, she says, "Thank you" out loud, to the screen. The next day, she sends him a text. "Google very polite today, must be good mood." But it gets better. Later that week, she accidentally opened Google Maps, saw the little blue dot showing her location, and freaked out. "Someone's following me with a ball!" She ends up putting a piece of tape over the dot so it can't see her anymore. Reddit lost it. Top comment, "Protect this woman at all costs. She has better manners than the entire internet." Now, every time she searches for something, she still adds "please" and "thank you." And honestly, maybe that's exactly what the internet needs more of. Story 7. The Tinder Disaster. Ah yes, modern romance, where adventure can mean anything from skydiving to ordering a different coffee flavour. So this guy meets a girl on Tinder. She says, "I love adventure." He thinks, perfect, finally, someone who likes the outdoors. He plans a day trip, scenic mountain trail, beautiful view, 2 bottles of water, 1 granola bar each. Real romantic. 10 minutes into the hike, she goes, "Oh my God, is that real dirt?" He's like, "Yes, it usually comes with the ground." By the halfway point, she's done, sitting on a rock, Googling Uber for mountains. He finally reaches the summit alone, snaps a selfie and posts it. Still a better view than the date. Reddit goes nuts. Top comment, "Bro went on a solo date with Mother Nature and she actually called him back." Another user wrote, "Lesson learned. When someone says they love adventure, ask if it's the Netflix kind or the altitude kind." The girl did text him later, though, asking for the photos because her friends didn't believe she ever went outside. He sent her one, of the view, captioned, "Proof you almost made it." Story 8. The exploding microwave at 3 a.m. It's 3 in the morning. Our Reddit hero's half awake, half hungry, and completely unfit for decision-making. He decides to reheat pizza. Easy, right? Wrong. He slides the slice into the microwave, presses start, and sits on the counter scrolling his phone. 10 seconds later, a flash, crackle, boom! Turns out he left a metal fork under the cheese. The microwave starts sparking like it's hosting a New Year's Eve party. Fire alarm blaring, smoke everywhere. He grabs the pizza and runs outside. Just him, his slice, and his shame. The neighbours are standing on the street in pyjamas, one guy shivering and asking, "What happened?" Our hero says completely deadpan, "I saved what mattered." Reddit comment section was ruthless. Imagine dying because someone wanted midnight pepperoni. Bro risked his life for a slice, and I respect that. The fire department shows up, no real damage, but the report literally reads, "Cause of incident, microwave versus fork, winner, fork." Since then, he claims he only eats cold pizza. Reddit calls him the microwave martyr. Honestly, the name fits. Story 9. The Honest Kid. aka human lie detector. There's a reason kids shouldn't be allowed near truth serum. They already are one. A mum posted this. She's sitting in the living room, husband stretched out on the couch, belly up, minding his business. Their 5-year-old walks in, squints, points, and goes, "You look like someone who eats chips in bed." Dad laughs, until the kid adds, "Because there are crumbs in your pillow." The man just stops. Whole house goes silent. Even the dog's like, "Bro, you're on your own." Reddit erupted. Top comment, "Kids don't roast, they autopsy your dignity." Another wrote, "FBI ex federal baby investigators." Later, the mum updated, "He vacuumed the bed and blamed the ghost of Doritos. So yeah, children don't lie. They just ruin you publicly for free." Story 10. The job interview that got Fifth Ferry. A guy applies for a remote job, full Zoom setup, shirt, tie, boxers, the standard. He's halfway through impressing the recruiter when his cat decides it's time to go full Mission Impossible and walks right across the keyboard, sending in the chat. He apologizes like crazy, thinking it's over. But the interviewer bursts out laughing. "Don't worry," she says. "My dog just sneezed on my notes." So they spend the rest of the interview trading pet stories instead of corporate jargon. 2 days later, he gets hired. Reddit called it the perfect hire. And honestly, if your first meeting survives a cat attack and a dog sneeze, that's not an interview. That's team building. Story 11. The coffee shop philosopher. So this Redditor works in a coffee shop. One morning, a guy comes in, clearly running on 3 hours of sleep and pure regret. He orders a medium coffee, but the barista says, "Sorry, we only have small or large." The guy stares for 5 seconds, completely broken by capitalism, and whispers, "Then make it the average of the two." The barista blinks, makes a large, drinks half of it, and hands him the cup. "Here you go, medium." The guy tips $10 and says, "Finally someone gets it." Reddit comments, "Philosophy major spotted. Dude just solved math and customer service in 1 sentence." Story 12. The gym disaster. This one's gold. A dude's at the gym trying to impress a girl on the treadmill next to him. He decides to sprint, like Olympic sprint. Problem, his shoelace is loose. He hits full speed, trips, launches himself forward like a human boomerang, and lands on another guy's yoga mat. The gym goes silent. Then the yoga guy calmly says, "Namaste, missile." The girl he was trying to impress, she applauds and he bows, and then he leaves forever. Top comment, "Bro didn't just fall, he ascended." Story 13. The tech support grandma returns. Remember the polite grandma from earlier? She's back. Her grandson upgraded her to a smartphone. Big mistake. He gets a text at 2 a.m. Phone says update available. Should I go outside to find it? Then 5 minutes later, "Never mind, I think update found me." Next day, she proudly says she closed 17 tabs. Turns out she physically closed the laptop lid 17 times. The internet crowned her Queen of Rebooting. Story 14. The dentist from Nightmares. A Redditor wrote, "My dentist asked if I floss daily. I said yes. Then he looked in my mouth and whispered, 'Don't lie to me, Kevin.' That was it. That's the whole post. Millions of people upvoted because we've all met a dentist who looks into your soul and sees your sins between your molars. Top comment, "Bro, my dentist told me your gums are bleeding because you betrayed me." Truly, no horror movie or movie beats oral hygiene guilt. Story 15. The grocery store breakup. So this couple's arguing in the cereal aisle. She's furious. He's holding a box of Frosted Flakes like it's a peace offering. She says, "You never listen." He says, "What?" That's it. That was the final straw. She storms off and some random old lady walks by, grabs the cereal and says, "She's right, you know, they are great." Instant applause from the internet. Comment of the year here. Imagine being dumped by your girlfriend and sponsored by Kellogg's in the same minute. Story 16. The Wi-Fi exorcism. So this Redditor's router kept disconnecting every 30 minutes. He renamed his network Jesus Save My Signal. A neighbour replied by renaming theirs "Devil Took Your Wi-Fi." The battle escalated. He changed his again to "Repent and Reconnect." They answered with "Stay in your LAN." After a week of holy network warfare, his grandma visits, tries to connect her tablet and innocently asks, "Which one's ours, Jesus or the devil?" Top comment: "Grandma about to get a spiritual data plan." And yeah, they never fixed the router, but they did convert half the neighborhood to comedy. Story 17, the wrong Zoom class. A college student joined the wrong Zoom lecture by accident. She thought it was Intro to Psychology. Turns out it was Advanced Quantum Physics. But she was too embarrassed to leave, so she stayed the whole hour nodding along like she understood Schrödinger's cat personally. The professor asks for her opinion to the wave function. She panics and says, "Honestly, I think the cat just needs therapy." Class loses it. Professor invites her to speak again next week. She's now an unofficial philosophy assistant for the physics department. Story 18. The parking ticket revenge. Guy gets a parking ticket for $50 after being parked 5 minutes over the limit. He pays in nickels, all of them, 1,000 shiny coins. He walks into City Hall with a shopping cart, dumps it on the counter and says, "Paid in full." The clerk looks dead inside but has to count every coin. Took 2 hours. Read its verdict. That man didn't lose $50. He bought 2 hours of revenge theatre. Truly worth every cent. Story 9. The pet tracker mix-up. A woman buys a smart tracker for her cat. It works great until her husband borrows it for his keys. Next morning she gets a notification. Your cat is at the hardware store. She rushes there, finds the husband at the checkout with a toolbox. Now every time he leaves the house she just says, "Text me when the cat gets home." Reddit comment, "Plot twist, the cat's having an affair with a drill." Torium20, the job resignation email. This Redditor writes a formal resignation email to his boss, but instead of attaching his letter, he accidentally attaches a meme that says, "I survived another meeting that should have been an email." Boss replies with, "Approved, also accurate." He got his reference letter and a standing ovation from the internet. And that's it for this week's funniest Reddit stories and jokes. If you laughed, even once, mop that like button so hard your mouse files for workers' comp. Drop a comment telling us which story cracked you up the most, the fridge with attitude, the cat lawyer, or the guy who risked his life for pizza. New stories every week, straight from the beautiful madness that is Reddit. Until next time, stay curious, stay chaotic, and remember, life might be a mess, but at least it's never boring. Peace out, Internet.